Welcome to Janna's Kitchen. Today we are making homemade pasta, and we're going to be using semolina flour in the homemade pasta, and you can find this in most grocery stores and specialty, or even buy it online. It's not expensive. It's like $3 for over a pound. So and it's so delicious. It's just wonderful. So I just wanted you to know about that. And so this is very fast and very easy. What takes the longest is the kneading part of it. And so we're going to add 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. We're going to add 2 1/2 cups of semolina flour. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. And we're going to mix this all together in our bowl. Until it's nice and mixed. It's a hot summer day, so it's a good day to just do things inside today. We're looking forward to fall, but we're going to eat like it's fall. So here we go. We got all that mixed together. And then in another bowl, I'm going to mix all our wet ingredients together. I have 4 egg yolks, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and 1 cup of water. So we're going to mix those together until you can't tell the difference. And that way, if you mix these together first, then it's going to mix evenly into your dough. So now we're going to come over here and we're going to make a well in the center of all of our flour. And it's just like it says, you make a hole in the middle of your flour. And we're going to add in all of our liquid. And then we're going to gradually mix the sides into, and just keep pulling a little bit of flour off of the sides. You can hear Bailey and Jack in the background today, our 2 golden retrievers, and we're at our daughter's house this weekend, and so we have 3 golden retrievers in the background. And so this is going to become really kind of crumbly here. It's going to be real dry as we mix it. This is where we're going to have to use our guns. And we're going to put this on a cutting board in just a minute, or a dough board, or a butcher block, whatever you have, or your countertop if you don't mind it getting messy. And see, it's starting to get real dry where the moisture is not absorbing really well, and that's okay. I'm going to bring my fork and continue to try and get mash in as many of the dry ingredients as I can into the wet. Like I said, it's not going to be perfectly mixed until we start to knead it. Oopsie daisy, man overboard. There. Super simple. So you don't need any equipment besides a little bit of elbow grease. Now we've got our cutting board. I'm going to try and make it into as much of a ball as I can, and then we're going to mix it together. We're going to let it set up after we knead it for 15 minutes. We're going to let it rest for just a few minutes, and then we're going to roll out our dough. Okay, I'm going to put this onto the board because I can see it's not going to get any better from here until I start doing its thing. And all flour is different. So if I need to add a few drops of water, I will, but you do not want this wet because this is going to be like a fresh, dry pasta, but it's not all the way dry, of course, because it's fresh. So we're going to just get this all mashed together, and then I'm going to begin to start to knead it and pull all this in. See, it's real messy. So we're going to come back in just a couple minutes. We're not going to knead it all 15 minutes at first. I'm going to come back in just a couple minutes and I'm going to show you how far this has come in 15 minutes of mashing it. We're going to just start kneading it all together. Like I said, if I need to add a couple more drops of water as I get it kneaded, I will, but I would rather make sure before I start adding moisture because you don't want this wet. So see, as I start to squeeze it, it's starting to hold together. So I'm just going to squeeze it and squeeze it. And then I'll keep adding the dry ingredients into it. See, even the dry ones start to go together. So we'll be back in just a few minutes to see the progression of this. Hi, it's been about 5 minutes and I just wanted to stop in real quick and tell you that I did have to add about 2.5 tablespoons more of water to get it to this point right here. And so now I'm going to knead it for the next 15 minutes. But I just wanted you to know that everybody's different, all flours are different, and so we're going to continue to knead from this point out for about 15 minutes. So I'm going to get my workout today. We'll be back in just a couple. Welcome back. We've been at this kneading for about 15 minutes now. I had divided the two just to make it a little easier, and then I'm putting them back together again. And so you can see we've got a nice ball of dough here, and it is a stiff dough. We never added more than 2.5 more tablespoons for our flour, but you might have to adjust to your own. And we're going to have the recipe in the comments below. And so we've got this all 15 minutes in. Now I'm going to wrap this in plastic wrap and let it rest. And then we're going to come back and we're going to roll out the pasta. We will see you in a few minutes. Okay, we're ready to make some pasta. And so we've had this sitting after I kneaded it for 15 minutes, our pasta dough. And so it's been sitting off to the side for 1 hour. And that just develops all of the dough and the yeast and the flours. And so I'm going to take a slice here. And this is a pasta. Ooh, we got some thunder, and I don't know if you can hear it in the background. We got a thunderstorm coming in. But this is a pasta maker. And so I don't know if you can see in here, but there is different widths. And so this is level 1 that I go through first. Then I put it back through on level 2, and then level 3, and then level 4, and it goes up to 6. And so you can see the difference of the width and the thickness of your noodle. And then over here, this is the one for spaghetti. I move my crank over to here, and I can make spaghetti in this one, which is, thin spaghetti. And in this one, I can make my wider noodles, the fettuccinis. And I can make them as thick, depth-wise, as I want. And then they're going to be about this wide coming out. So that's how this works. And you can get electric ones, but mine's just a hand crank one. So I'm always starting at 1. So that's how we go. And then I take my dough, and this is what I do. I'm sure there's other ways of doing it. And then I just put it a little bit. I don't want to get it too floury, but I just put a little bit of flour on it. And then I start working it through on level 1. I'm getting some good lightning. There's level 1, and that's what my sheet looks like. And so kind of split right there. That's okay. I'm going to turn it there. And now I'm going to run it through again, and I'm going to move it to level 2. And now it's level 2. Now it's level 3. And this one level 3. So now we got level 3. Now we're going to go to level 4. I like a thicker noodle. And so there it is. And this is one single batch, the 4 eggs. And the recipe is going to be below. These are about $30, $40, depending upon which one you have. This is an Empire brand, and it's made in Italy. I've had this since my wedding 35 plus years ago. Some wonderful people that I still am in contact with blessed us with this pasta maker. There. And so now I'm going to go over, move my crank. I'm going to move it over here to make the actual noodles. You can see it coming out the bottom. There we go. Look at that. Oh. And do this one. And one box of pasta at most stores is 1 pound. And so I'm just going to add just a little bit. I don't want to soak them with flour, but just so they don't stick together until our pasta water is going. And my daughter made a beautiful Bolognese sauce. And we're going to have the homemade pasta with Bolognese. And we're all excited for that. We can't wait. And so I'm going to finish this up and we'll be back. And it only boils for about 3 minutes. Welcome back, and guess what time it is? Time to cook our pasta. We've got some boiling water. You got to have boiling. Not simmering, it's got to boil. And so we put our pasta on a tray and let it sit. I did sprinkle a little flour on it just to make sure that it was going to not stick together. And so now we've got a pot of salted water. You want to be generous with your salt. And this is going to take about 3 minutes, but I'm going to test it before that. And it all depends upon humidity, temperatures in your air, everything. So once it comes back to a boil, we're going to know a little bit better. And this is just half of that dough, so you know. That's half of the recipe. That's in the pot right now. I've got another cookie sheet with a towel ready to go into the water. I'm going to give it a little toss. Little tongs here. And we're going to wait for it to come back to a boil, and we'll be back in just a second, and we're going to finish it up. Welcome back, and here we are. It's been boiling. I timed it on my phone, and for the temperature that we're at in our house and the water and the stove and everything else, you taste your pasta, and when it's done to your liking, then it's done. And so we've got a spider to lift it all out of there. And I don't care if there's a little bit of water on the noodles. If you don't want any, you can, depending on your sauce. It's sauce of your choice. But this is just eggs, salt, olive oil, flour, semolina flour. So simple. Just takes time, but that's love, right? There we go. So we're going to get my husband a nice portion here because he hasn't eaten since breakfast today. You like our little background music, little Dean Martin? Get him some sauce. I'm gonna rinse this off real quick here. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of, with this sauce that she has, we're gonna add just a little bit of pasta water. Ooh-wee. Hand's getting hot. Look at this. Hun, what's your sauce called?
Bolognese.
Bolognese sauce tonight. She's grating some fresh pecorino Romano cheese. Ooh, and look at that. Doesn't get any better than homemade pasta. It's all made with love. You can use jarred sauce, bolognese, homemade, ragu, whatever your sauce is. And I'm going to clean this plate up, and it's going to be in front of my husband in about 30 seconds. So enjoy it with your family and friends. Doesn't get any better. Homemade pasta with bolognese sauce. We'll see you next time.